In this video, we will give an overview of the feasible paradigm. The paradigm is perhaps the most important tool you will learn about in this curriculum, and one you will refer to again and again throughout the rest of the program. This tool is not only a critical resource to understanding more about how your brain works, but is also fundamental in helping you change your thinking to better align with your goals and the aspirations you have in your life. It is called the feasible paradigm because the word feasible is an acronym that stands for facts, story, emotion, behavior, effect, and legacy. Before we jump into each of the separate components of the paradigm, let's look at a general definition of the two parts of this name. The word feasible means to be capable of, to be accomplished, or possible. Paradigm is defined as a set of ideas or framework that explains how you view reality. Putting these two words together helps define the purpose of the paradigm. It is a tool that will help you adopt a paradigm or a personal view of reality where you are capable of accomplishing your desires. The paradigm not only helps you adopt this empowering mindset, but is a powerful tool that helps you learn how to change your thinking and the view you have on reality. With this information in mind, let's break down each of the letters in feasible and talk about what they mean in more detail. The first letter is F, which stands for facts. The facts are the indisputable and unbiased characteristics of the situation, separate from any meaning that you may be tempted to assign to them. This might include the actual words people say, the external circumstances of a situation, numbers, measurements, or time. For example, if you had a bad experience with your waiter today, instead of thinking, our waiter was so rude today, which could be considered highly subjective, the facts of this scenario might be, it took 15 minutes for our check to arrive after we requested it. Other examples might be, the stock market dropped 200 points today, our home was flooded last week, or I accepted a new job which required me to relocate the family. These examples are all unbiased facts that do not rely on the opinions of others. The next letter is S for story. The story you tell is just the meaning your brain assigns to the facts in your life, and it's usually through the lens of your brain's effort to protect you in some way. When you can remember that the brain is just doing its job, it helps you have compassion and curiosity about why you might be interpreting certain facts the way you are. Here are some other ways to describe story. Your story is your personal interpretation of the facts. It will be unique to you in any situation. Your story is the source of your emotional pain. Whether you recognize it or not, many of our painful emotions come from painful stories. Our story is unconscious thoughts that usually go unchecked. How often is your brain in default mode? And your story is within your control. It can be changed at any time from habitual default thoughts to more useful thoughts. Recognizing that all of us have stories or meaning that has been assigned to the factual circumstances of your life can benefit you in many ways. For instance, if you ever catch yourself saying, I can't help the way I think, learning to be mindful of the way you tell your story is helpful. One important reason for this is that learning to direct your thoughts is where all your power lies. You decide if your story is fiction or nonfiction. It's all up to you. Remember, due to negativity bias, your brain is programmed to find the negativity in any situation as a survival mechanism. It truly thinks it's protecting you at any given moment. On top of that, because of confirmation bias, your brain will also look for evidence to back up any thoughts that's presented to it. Remember, your brain would rather be right than happy, and it does this by holding on to painful stories rather than letting go and risking its ego. The next letter is E for emotion. It goes without saying that emotions are powerful, but what are they actually? At its basic definition, emotions are just words used to describe how we feel. Agitated, nostalgic, wondrous. For the purposes of the feasible paradigm, what we essentially are doing is dissecting why we're feeling the way we're feeling and what thoughts, whether conscious or not, contributed to our outcomes. To get the most awareness from the paradigm, we encourage you to get as specific and accurate with your emotions as possible. Try avoid using words such as mad, sad, or anxious. What are you really feeling? Here are some other examples of more specific emotions. Aggressive, judgy, rage, apathetic, despair, heartbroken, desperate, afraid, rejected, and intimidated. The list could go on and on. Later in the curriculum, you will find a list of hundreds of possible emotions to help you identify how you're feeling. When we break it down, emotions are essentially just sensations in our body. These sensations are caused by chemical reactions in our brain, simply energy passing through our body in a variety of ways. They are called feelings because we physically feel our emotions through our physical senses. Sweaty palms, racing heart, tight shoulders and chest, butterflies in our stomach, etc. The fourth letter is B for behavior. What we do shapes the person we become and the life we create. Even though everything begins with our thoughts, it's our behaviors that makes the magic happen. For example, we could sit around manifesting all day about creating the ideal life while eating chocolate, but nothing is really going to happen until we get off the couch and do something. When you learn the art of changing your thoughts, you will find that you'll know when your thoughts are believable and working by how they cause you to feel and behave. Here's some things to know about behavior. Anything we do is an attempt to gain or keep a specific feeling we want. We can do the same action from a positive or a negative emotion. Our repeated behaviors have a lasting impact and can be traced back to the stories we tell, and our cumulative behaviors determine the subsequent effect. Which leads us to the next letter. The fifth letter is E for effect. The effect is fairly straightforward. It is what you are currently experiencing in any specific situation. It's the present, usually short-term outcome of your combined story, emotion, and behaviors. You can know what your effect is by asking yourself, what happened because I thought, felt, and did X? The last letter is L for legacy. Your legacy is the long-lasting legacy you create in your life. It is the culmination of years of the same effects. When we continuously tell the same story, we are creating a legacy built off of compounded effects. So essentially, the effect is situation-specific, a one-time event, and possibly more external in nature, while legacy is life and self-specific to all of these events combined. It becomes who you are, your character, and it's more internal in nature and the mark you leave on the world. Your legacy is yours for the making. You create it. It is not something that just happens to you unless you allow yourself to live in default mode your whole life. In summary, the paradigm is a tool that will help snap your brain into problem-solving mode and out of rumination. Like a math story problem, think of the paradigm as an equation that solves your own problems by identifying your X through its framework. You are literally forcing yourself to think deliberately and get tactical. You're switching your brain from system 1 to system 2. This is where problems are solved. You're thinking about thinking. Finally, to quote Viktor Frankl, between stimulus and response lies a space. In that space lies freedom and power to choose a response. In our response lies our growth and our happiness.